What's popular YouTube? Another day, another demo, and welcome to day 4 out of 20. Blaze it. I didn't have that ready. Blaze it, okay? We are here to figure out, I'm here to show you who I think are the top 20 players of the year from my perspective, my personal opinion, okay? Disclaimer, it's a companion list, the HLTV top 20 prediction. They were my inspo board, but it's still just my list, who I think, okay? So today's player, who is it, man? Who do you think it's going to be? Put it in the comments before I give you the 3 hints. We'll do the 3 hints again. All right, this is a player from Sweden. This is a player who has had the same haircut for about 5 years. As soon as he figured out this haircut, he never changed. This is a player with 3 letters in his name. That's right. It's ZTR. No, I'm just kidding. It's Rez. It's Rez, ladies and gentlemen. And some of you are going to be very unhappy that it's this far down the list. I honestly wasn't even sure if he was going to make it, man. Because I was trying to... I'm thinking Rez, okay? Rez with the peaks of config. Rez, the guy who has had some maps that are just so extraordinary. And today we are going to watch one of those games. A 24-5 half. 2.39 rating in this half of Mirage versus Team Liquid. Rez is a guy who we know is good. You know what I'm saying? We know he's good. But when it comes to the output across the year, let's just go ahead and look at the, whole 12 months in the events. A solid year. But when we shave it down just to the big events, aka the LAN events of the year, we don't have a deep run at Cologne, but he still had a good rating. We had a very strong IEM winter result with a deep run all the way to second place and, a solid rating. But outside of that, he had a really bad major. He had a really bad fall final. And this is news. This is new. It's the world final, but NIP have been eliminated 7-8. They had the stand-in of Fuzi, but Rez was not their star player carry rifler that they needed. You know what I mean? Fuzi was actually really good, which makes it even more convincing that this is just not an acceptable result. And I say this, and this is not supposed to be a negative thing because we're in the top 20, but I say this because it feels like this is a player who should have been pushed up further. He should have been top 15. He should have been even farther than that, but these are just such bad marks on the record. We had a part of the year here for Rez where he slumped at the wrong time, right? He came out of this streak of events playing so well, and then the major hit, and he was just gone. You never really see it on his face. He's always just kind of like a little bit happy or just chill, and even when he's having nuts games, he's not the guy who's screaming and yelling, but there was no real insight into what happened here. This was a very strange one, and this was a situation where Device needed a second star. Hampus was the one who dragged them into the top 8 of playoffs, and with this match versus Copenhagen Flames, and Rez just could not get it together no matter how many maps they played. And, unfortunately, it's just such an important event that this is too late. This is too late. And it was good. Played well versus some good teams here. They didn't have an easy run. A lot of hard teams, actually, for NIP in this major, no doubt. But Rez has got it. If you're going to be a top 20 player, got to keep up with that, So it just kills me to have him at this level. Now, I will say, I look at Rez, and I don't think of him as, like, even an electronic, right? An electronic, a star rifler, right-hand man to simple, super good stats every single year. And you can see from the quality of his play, like, this guy's like half a genius, right? And for Rez, I see more of a guy who has just really, really, really strong mechanics and almost want to slot him into the idea of being kind of a role player, a really overperforming role player or something like that. I don't know how to put it. Like, when Rez came on the team, this is what the conversation we're having in the green room, okay? When this major thing happened, I wasn't in the green room, but after, we were saying Rez is not a LAN liability. In fact, he's actually a LAN MVP, but that was all the way back in 2017, okay? That was an event that IEM Oakland that they won where you were like, all right, this is the kid. He's going to be putting Swedish Counter-Strike on their back. He's going to save NIP. Like, this was the event where it felt like, yeah, it makes sense. This is why we got Rez. But in the past year, and I think overall with NIP and their instability, it feels like they need a bit more on the top. I think they need a better coach, and I think they need better I think Hampus does a great job as an IGL, but I'm not sure about how, like, NIP in terms of activating talent. You know, Plopsky has come onto the roster, and let's continue this conversation in game. We're playing on 1024, 768, 4-3 here for Rez. And still, I mean, a very respectable number 17, obviously, still super solid, but, you know, kind of an enigma for me. And yeah, Rez is kind of an enigma for me, and the whole team. You know, Plopsky was another one. I mean, he was supposed to be just another star to come in, and he said himself he's not very happy with himself this year. But I hold Rez to a higher standard than Plopsky, and I think he's shown that he can be such a nuts player, right? And this is going to be one of the games that might make you a Rez fan. You watch this match and you go, God damn, like, this guy is every bit as good as they say. Who knows where his limits are and how much output he can have. And overall as a player, I mean, the stats are still there to a certain extent. I mean, there's definitely more inconsistent players with super high peaks. Rez has overall a pretty high level of consistency. But I was like, the major. Why do you have to go quieter at the major? Was it the fact that it was such a hard run? I'm sure that could have played a factor, but I know I'm not going to cut an excuse for Rez when I expect him to be just as good as all the other players and all these great teams. And that's the other thing. We also do see him play well versus good teams. It's just, it feels like the consistency, which is that's the big mystery, right? If you could solve consistency, you'd be Nico, you'd be Simple, and you'd be Zywoo. But those are the only three players who have managed to really be able to find it. And obviously for a rifler, the job is a lot harder. But it's been done. You know, Electronic is very consistent. Yeah. I mean, it's such a weird place, I feel like, to put him in here. But overall, it was a strong year. It was a strong year. It was just the expectations, right? We came out of the roster change where they got Device on the team in place of Knock, and this was supposed to be the beginning of a really, really strong period for NIP, and the expectations coming into the major. Maui had them making top 8. I, by the time the major started, also put them in my top 8. Like, I was looking like, okay, you know, they actually, you know, might be able to make semis. Some were saying there's a potential they could peak and beat Na'Vi. You know, Copium. Everyone was trying to figure out who's Na'Vi gonna lose to. Was basically the conversation. Some of us stuck to our guns, but you know, that was part of the conversation. But NIP were really peaking. You know, out of IEM Fall, which was the European minor, which is a tough competition to win. It's got everybody good in Europe who's yet to qualify for the major. That's never easy. Device came out MVP of the whole damn thing. Of course, NIP collected the points they needed to get through, and then we had a situation where it was on. You know, it was on, and they're in a good spot. I'm like, God damn. You know, thing about Rez too is just, you know, we go from Nafly down to Rez, and you're going to see a distinct difference when it comes to the level of mechanics, the steadiness of the crosshair, the percentage of headshots. Rez really puts together some beautiful clips almost every round. And he's one of these players, you know, when he gets in a game like this, his eyes glaze over. You get that config effect. You're like, holy hell, where is the ceiling for him? You know, how can he be stopped? And that's always wonderful. But it's one of those, it's a situation where I'm like, are we overjoyed at the fact that Rez is able to grab a place in the top 20 and his team is playing better than they have been? Or are we like a little disappointed that he should be doing better and that we've seen him do better, but we're not getting the consistent plays? But all right, we're here to learn a little bit about Rez on the map. And the other thing is, I thought that with Device coming onto the team, there was the interesting stat line of the team, Device not necessarily playing well since he joined the team, but the team winning more, because you got Device on your team, he's going to make the team better, and it was instantly true. And I think right away at Flashpoint, which was a big event for Rez and for the roster, you saw that everybody was imbued with this new energy, and it felt like that everyone was going to start playing better, and they're, you know, really going to try hard to make the most of the fact they've got Device on the roster. I personally wondered if it was going to make people nervous to have a player like Device on the roster, but Rez really stepped up. And as the year went on, that trend continued. I mean, Device has had a very tough year for a different, personal reasons and otherwise. Not stuff I want to get into, but despite that, NIP were improving. I think NIP are a team. Wow. Okay, Rez, just light him up. Let's see it. Wow, man, he's crispy. He's crispy as hell, dude. He's so nuts with it, man. He's a whole can of Pringles. This guy, perfect, right on the head, right on the target. But throughout the year, Device continued to not play as good as we know he can, and then also, not that he was a question on LAN or anything like that, but just not up to his standard, like his top 3 standard, of course. And with that, it probably bred a little bit of consistency into the rest of the roster with deeper runs. You got some better stats, and I think more comfort for Rez, who is probably not going at this point. Probably not going to be the best player on the team over the course of years and stuff like that, right? We're probably past the point of being able to see something like that, even though it's possible. It's just not something that we expect. Of course, you got to be honest about what we've seen from players over the years. You don't just suddenly get a turnaround on the same roster and everything changes. But there's still room for improvement. Obviously, still very young, and a great base to work with. A foundation of playing against a lot of top teams, playing with some of the best and most quality players in the world. But I can't help but feel like it's maybe it's a coach thing more than anything else. And there's a lot of conjecture when we talk about coaches and what they offer, and we don't know how much. But by the same token, there's certain ones that get great reviews, and you have Blade, you have Zonic, you have Xtaz. So I don't know. I haven't really felt the same energy with Threat. And of course, things are changing on the roster as this retake takes place, and it's just good enough. We move on forward. Rez here on Mirage. Top mid flash, the palm tree flash. The most important CT nade that you can know. Okay? If you're playing this map and you're playing Ticket, throw that damn thing every round. Don't even think about it. Don't even ask if anyone needs it. Launch that flash over mid. Will it always work? No, it won't always work. Sometimes people run out mid, turned around because of the palm tree flash. But in your pugs, it's going to work a lot of the time. And if your team is playing inside a window, if they're playing in connector, if there's any kind of aggressive mid setup at all, it will slow down the attack entirely. Just throw that simple flash, one simple flash to the top of mid, and benefit. Reap the rewards. On the site, when you have a position like this, it gets opened up by the fact that Palace is being watched, which is always great. I don't know. Oh, okay. Someone in window will take him out. Stewie goes down. We move forward, and we are just farming. Here to enjoy this frag movie, actually, by Rez. This is a really unfun game for Liquid as well, because I think this was third map. This is a map. There's a map in the series they, probably felt good about. And then Rez just said, no. No. Oh. Do we see an arm? I feel like we may have. All right, let's see how he rotates now that we've got the Halls player dead. He can go under Balk if he likes to. Side default is very nice. You can dodge a lot of flashes, whether you realize it or not, sitting on the side of default here. It's also a pretty indestructible piece of cover. You can wall bang it from connector, but overall it's a great spot to stand in. And Rez will migrate a touch to under Balk. This position gets kind of dangerous when connector can be taken over, and they can peek you from stairs, and they can spam you in this wood corner. Even if they don't know you're there, it's going to get spammed sometime. But the benefit of getting one of these more dedicated spots is whoever's, in Ticket or whatever, they have a free place to rotate into. And they are also taking attention away from you. So Rez just absolutely farming Team Liquid on this round with just a touch of help here from Hampus. It's a little bit of salt on the steak. But Rez is the steak. He's the Wagyu this game. The coolest part about under Balk is if they don't molly it, you have so many ways to take fights. You can, as we saw, look up to the ladder. You can bounce a flash and fight a ramp. And now we've got a slightly different look. Oh!
Stop fucking flashing!
There are so many goddamn flashes. You'd think this exec was going to go well, but not when Rez is still alive in the back of the site. Let's move forward. It's kind of nice to just get a frag movie. I will say. I do love watching a res game. That may or may not do a lot of damage because they'll be able to see. You might be able to see that. Sometimes you won't, but he's just nading the top boxes after hearing the spam. There's a lot of free damage to be raked in if you're on CT side and you know that they've taken the top boxes. You'll see Bit inside a window actually line up his mollies for the top of mid. If you want to learn how to do that, even if the window is smoked, he has a lineup for it. That's always good to do. And you can offhand it. It's actually, you know, pretty easy to be consistent about offhanding it. But if you even miss it one time, why? Why didn't you just learn the lineup, you know? It's one of those things. All right, there's the scary peek. When you're playing as well as Rez right now, you start peeking stairs. In the CSGO textbooks, they tell you just don't peek stairs. Don't peek stairs no matter what you're doing. Wow. Last bullet spray through Tetris. And they'll say don't peek stairs. Because if you peek stairs, every second you peek stairs and you peek A ramp, someone's going to peek you from Palace. You peek Palace, someone's going to peek you from A ramp. Now you can hold Palace a few steps down and have a nice tight line on Palace. That's one thing you can do. But stairs is such a hot spot on the A site that even if you have like a nice fight versus Palace, you're still at risk just because of how many people are going to hard pre-aim you. You know, they're going to clear it. They're going to focus a lot of attention to the guy who is going to get too frisky. That's the question with someone who's playing on stairs all the time. See that flash? Throw it every round. Don't think too hard about it. I like that newer smoke that's being thrown inside a connector. The Tabson throws a lot. I call it Tabson smoke. Sometimes even the teams and players don't know who threw the first one. They're like, I got it from this team. And you go ask that team, like, oh, I got it from that team. I don't know. I've heard teams credit each other about who invented it. It's been so ridiculous. So this one's just a more standard one. But yeah, usually one you leave your star rifler around here in the connector side, because they've got a lot of angles that they've got to move in between. It's a much more dynamic position than whoever's playing on ticket or whoever's playing in the site. That's pretty good. We got some good ADR here on this round through the smoke on the cross, and that is part of your job. Don't be shy about it. You know they're crossing. They know you're behind that smoke. Just shoot a few bullets. You don't have to buy your ammo anymore, guys. Stop pretending they can't see you or that they don't know you're there. They know you're there. Just spam them. And this is the most unnerving position on the map. When you're sitting in jungle in that corner where someone can come up into the window, there's always a chance that they can sneak up and boost. And you have to constantly look for those timings. And this spot in specific, you have a nice, way to watch connector and everything like that. But your best fight is if you're holding window and they jump up. I think that's your most favorite fight. This duel is also very nice, but at the same time, it's a little bit open. And then the other thing is there's so many timings, right? How many times does Top Con get smoke and then two guys pop flash through? Or they'll walk up and someone will just lurk out on a timing and try to get into the window. Blame math, So there's a number of times you're just going to die to these very unfortunate timings, but I think Rez has been blessed by the CS gods this match, so I don't think he's going to get timing too often. This angle is very powerful for watching the bottom of connector, but you have to be worried about underpass because your gun is flying around, and the underpass guy is going to be waiting for you. Oh, it's so hard to play that connector window position as a rifler. The list of responsibilities just don't end. But even the best players are going to get caught like that, swinging their gun around inside of the window. Always good to stay back if you can, but even if you're just a footstep closer than Rez was with this M4 A1S, if someone's lurking out underpass, walking, they can see your gun. And just spam your ass into oblivion. Oh my god, it's Saturday now. I'm leaving on Monday. We have one more day of the World Final. Oh, this is tricky. See this time. So on the last round, he bounced the smoke on the right side here. He just bounces it off the left and leaves himself a little opening. And the taps in smoke I was talking about is one that just, it's a little bit poofier in mid, and you have a one-way on both sides where you can fight over top of it or anybody lurking up to the corner of it. It forces the team to respect the smoke a lot more than the one that's nice and tight inside of the connector. But they're all used for different reasons. Okay, so we'll go with the gamble stack. I think I don't know, it seems like they already know it's going to be a save in this situation, so that's just fine. I really hate this spot, but in a situation like this, it makes sense. It's just because there's, not a lot of good angles. But one of the best parts about Rez is you can give him bad angles and he'll still win his duels, right? Like that's why he's so nuts. Let's see if we find the timing. Oh, the smoke's not good. I don't know if I skipped through something. There's a whole parking space between that smoke and the wall. All right, it's Rez time. I can feel it. Here, you're just waiting for that final head to pop up. Oh, they're scaling. They're on triple looking towards connector. Oh, Naf doesn't clear CT properly. Rez will do Elise dirty. And they'll win. Okay, 8-4 now. Everything is going so well. This guy cannot be killed. He's always in time with the rotations as well. Oh, here it is. All right, so that's just the nade for... You can throw that with any nade. Every single nade has the same weight, I believe. So when you throw it, you can line them up and they'll all follow the same trajectory. But the different nades will explode at different times. Like mollies will explode after a few seconds in the air. And flashbangs as well. And that I'm not exactly sure if they pop at the same times. Smokes, of course, will hit the ground. And nades, of course, are also 2 on a timer. CS 101. And that's it. That's half the game right there, is not getting lurked upon. So Alicia goes down instantly. No moment that he can react in. 2v2, and you got to go for it when Rez is playing this well. I think Grim's on the other side. He's also an aimer. That smoke is... Oh, okay, it's actually perfect. Looked like it was a little too far. Oh, and now the trade. Oh, Rez won't even have to see him. Grim thought he'd have a few seconds. Maybe he walked up to the smoke, gets into the market window. And he knows Rez is in there, but Rez also knows. That's when you just got to trust yourself. Easy retake 1. I love this crosshair. I'm actually going to use it, I think. But I'm not going to 1024 black bars. That's a bridge too far for me. Plenty of great players on 1024 black bars. Who can we name? Shiro? Who else? I think Config plays on one of these super low reses. And some quick claps. Rez very comfortable with the bursting. He actually tagged someone with that incendiary. Good awareness. So they come up for the trade. And I think we got another footstep. Let's see how few bullets we can use. Just right on the money, man. I feel like the time to kill is so low. The accuracy is so high. Headshots are so good. I really want him to take this duel. Even though this game is about winning the rounds, I don't care. I would tell him to swing. I'd say Rez hunt. Oh, okay. Wow, you shouldn't have peeked that, dude. Are you crazy? It's Nafly. Nafly could win. Shouldn't peek that. Oh, nice punishment. He's been very good about knowing like what the idea is going to be for Liquid. I don't know if that was a demo kill right there, just based on their fast top con smoke, but I guess when he saw it, he was just on full alert. Nafly swings, and I think Nafly does want to try to take a duel with anyone who's there in case there's some counter nades that come out or someone's not peeking. And now Rez can potentially activate. He's obviously moved off of his position. Gotten a little closer. The flash, it works for a second. Real after image flash, but not enough to get him all the way back. We've already seen 24 kills from Rez in this half. And definitely a guy that we can't stop saying good things about. It's just it's unfortunate that in some of the big events, which obviously they matter a lot. They matter a lot. The big LAN events of this year. He had this slump period. It took so long to get out of it. It was the major into the following event, I think, which was the Blast Fall Finals, and it was just, yeah. And you could see when we're, on the desk or casting and stuff like that. I've heard Sponge talk about this a number of times, where he's just like, "Ah, man, where's Rez? Where's Rez?" And it's just the expectations. It's expectations. He's not a normal player. He is not normally. He's above normally. So we got to hold him to above normally standards. Rez, number 17 player of the year. Solid. I mean, I'm sure he'll be in the HLTV top ranking. I think things will start to be like more players that are here now are most likely going to be on the top 20 somewhere. Where he'll be is a big question. But, yeah, that's Rez for me. I hope you enjoyed that one. Yeah, Rez, a guy we love to talk about. Frederick Sterner, the kid. All right. Take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow for number 16. What you got?